Movie 1 Megatron. Excellent Studio Series figure. Movie 2 Megatron. It's alright. Has, trouble standing up. Movie 3 Megatron. It's okay. An acquired taste. How about movie 4? Is the movie 4 villain any good? I think it's safe to say in the Transformers community that Megatron's design over the movies has been controversial, not least of which is the Age of Extinction incarnation of Frank Welker-voiced Galvatron. We finally have Galvatron in hand from Studio Series. I picked this figure up over at the Big Bad Toy Store, and it's oddly smaller than all three previous. Now, I realize that Dark of the Moon Megatron is a leader class figure, where the other two are Voyager. The premium finish from that Megatron carries over into Galvatron, and the overall aesthetic is okay, but there's not enough of the premium finish. It's mostly that charcoalish gunmetal gray. I'm sorry, the charcoal and the gunmetal are two different colors. And then the bright silver, it's concentrated on the outer arms, the head, the chest, the upper thighs, and the kneecaps. Or would those be shins? I don't know, they kind of look like it could be both. I, for one, absolutely hate the head sculpt of Galvatron. I've hated it in the movie. I don't like it here, but I do appreciate the paint. The head is silver overall, with a little bit of sky blue at the very top of his head and on his, well, upper lips / cheeks. I don't know. It's an odd choice. It's not the most detailed thing in the world. He does have red eyes, which I do appreciate, but overall, it's just odd. What's also odd is you have the absolutely phenomenal 2007 Megatron figure from Studio Series, and then you've got this Galvatron figure, both of which are Voyagers, yet the head height between them is significantly different. And I'm actually not using Megatron's full height here. He's leaned over a little bit and his knees are bent, so we're talking at least a full head difference between the two figures. Same price point though. Galvatron comes with two accessories, first of which is his gun, which he can hold in his hand. Pro tip, don't push it down all the way. You'll never get it out. I ended up having to take a small screwdriver and push it out of his hand because, quite frankly, the peg is too big for the peg hole of the hand. Yes, you can just sand it down a little bit. That'll be fine. The actual gun is painted in silver, bright silver, and it appears to be cast in the same bright silver as well. It looks fine. I would love there to be a little bit of paint. If I remember correctly, this is a wheel gun. Like, it looks like a wheel transforms into his weapon. The things that are hanging off the back don't make sense in robot mode, but they will in vehicle mode because of where it stores. Now, the other accessory he comes with is missiles that need to be painted badly. I should really paint those. You know, the missiles, the things he used in the one scene in the movie. The highway scene, specifically. Other than your typical articulation, which we'll cover in just a minute, he does have one gimmick, and that is opening up his chest to reveal... Oh, hey, what's that? Oh, look, it's an evil Matrix.
Excuse me, I was looking for that. That's mine.
Oh, sorry, Purple Prime. Here you go.
Thanks.
This cavity takes up a huge bit of space. You could fit like 3 or 4 Optimus heads in here, and multiple Matrixes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But officially, the only thing you're supposed to put in here are the missiles. This is where the missiles get stored in robot mode. And ironically, you're supposed to put them pointing straight up at his head. Oh, you know what? Can we, No, that's not going to fit in there. But I wonder if we could just, unpeg this and move that off to the side and use my dad powers of being able to pack things into small spaces, and yeah, that kind of works. Head is on a ball joint and supposed to be able to look up and down. Not really. Can look down that much. Can look forward. Side to side, obviously. Shoulders are on swivels, hinges, swivel at the upper arm, double bend at the elbow, or double jointed at the elbow. No fist articulation because it's all one frickin' solid piece that's hollow. There is torso articulation, but it is limited by the hinges, so if you have the leg out, it will hit his backpack, which... Oh, I haven't shown you the back of the figure yet, have I? It's, well... It's supposed to be modeled after the movie. It just looks kind of silly. And it looks like a truck has been squished up there, which technically it has. Legs are on swivels, hinges. There are thigh swivels, but they are limited due to all the molding. Bending at the knee is over 90 degrees. Then there is some ankle articulation. Forward and back is very limited, but it is part of the transformation. And then we've got your typical ankle rocker. Be careful though, if you move this too far, it will push against the outer part or the back of the leg and pop the back of the leg out of position. I've done that a couple of times. Oh, just like that. I just did it on camera. Good for me. The only bits that are loose on my figure are these little hinges here for the transformation, specifically the wheel hinge that is on the right thigh. This thing just flops about a bit too much. The one on the right does peg into place nicely, but there's not a lot of force needed to get it on peg. This one, oh boy, it flippity floppity for days. I do have to give the designers credit. They made something here that's both better and worse than the original Galvatron figure. I liked that original Galvatron figure in hindsight. There wasn't much of a transformation, but at least it was fun, and it had a mode, well, the vehicle mode anyway, looked absolutely phenomenal. Here we have a pretty good looking robot mode, and then a vehicle mode that fails in, well, accuracy, we'll say. You'll see in a minute. But the robot mode isn't bad, but nothing so far holds a candle to this thing. This thing's amazing. This one is fine. Something I'd like to talk about with Galvatron is his head, specifically the back of it. And that is, there's enough detailing here that if you paint it right and cover up this slot, you could actually get another figure out of this. I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro repaints the back of the head into a different figure. In fact, it looks very similar to Toe Line from the original series. Or maybe they could redo this, paint it red, and paint the entire figure red, and we'd essentially have a new version of that Chinese recolor of Galvatron from way back when. Ironically, turning the head around with the coloring that is already there makes it more cohesive to the rest of the figure. Getting into the transformation next, I've already started the shoulders. Fold the arms so that they're pointing straight back. Come up to the chest, open it up. Come up to the head, turn it around 180 degrees like I have here so he's looking out his back. Then come up to these little flaps that are behind the shoulders, unpeg them, and flip them up like that. Then you could grab that whole section, flip it up and around, and fold the panel all the way down. And then this is the top of the cab of the vehicle mode, and that pegs into place right up top. Then take the shoulders and the arms, fold the arms up, bring the arms around underneath the cab, and then fold the arms up. This is how the directions have you do it. What you actually want to do is fold them in as much as they can so that the blade or the arm blades are just touching. This will come into play later in the transformation. Next, we'll come down to the hips. Next, come down to that flap that you just flipped up, or flipped all. Next, come down to the flap and flip it up till it touches the bottom of the elbows, so it sits flush. Grab the hips and unpeg them and flip them forward, or I'm sorry, flip them back, or whichever direction they're pointing. I think this is the front of the figure. So flip them up like so. Then we can come to the sides of the thighs and flip out the wheels, and then we can reach around to the back of the back of the lower legs, unpeg the back section, and then flip them up and swing them around like so. And do that for both sides. Now notice I'm kind of angling the knees a little bit. That's just to make sure everything lines up okay later on down the line. Now for the feet. Fold the feet all the way down on the backs of the legs, reach inside the legs, and flip out the rear tires, and then just kind of leave everything the way it is. And then come down to the feet, split the feet, and fold them up and out like that, so they're butterflied. Now, let's start bringing things together. Take the legs, fold them down, and turn this panel and slide it in, and then it will rest on the chest section that you folded down. Fold this section down and push it into the front of the cab, and then there's that little T piece of plastic. I'll show you on the other side in just a second. And push that in, and this is where folding the arms in correctly, tucked up like that, comes into play. Now, originally, you would think that, oh, well, the forearms are just empty because they're trying to save money. That's part of it. But the other part is there wouldn't be any clearance if they filled in the forearm. So that's why you tuck the arms up as much as possible so you can clear the upper thigh / shin component. So get that into place, get that folded down, slide that into place, and I always find the left side to be a little bit more difficult. And then that little plastic T, that where my finger is, will peg onto the inside of the panel. This is not the easiest transformation in the world, but once I figured out that I had to push the arms in more, everything came into place much, much easier. Now, we can come to the front. Now come to the top and flip that down and around and flip the panels down and peg them in like so. And whenever I do that, I end up unpegging other things. And flip this little back piece down. Now for the feet, we can combine the feet together. And really, they do combine together. Honestly, they do. The toes will combine together. And we want to rotate these whole foot section up into the back. Now, just before we do this, before we go ahead and do this, take the gun, have the top of the barrel pointing towards the inside, and peg it into this opening right here at the bottom of the feet. And this is actually where the gun stores in vehicle mode. And that will slide into place. And we could just leave it there. And it's, remember that little piece I was talking about, the flailed out piece, or the splayed piece, how it looked weird? Well, it's shaped like that, so it's flush along the bottom of the vehicle mode. Next, come to these pieces on the outside and fold them in to form the gas tanks. And then finally, we could take the front section of the truck mode, which is the back of the robot mode, flip down the bumper, get that situated, come underneath and drop the missile pod into place. Doesn't really matter how. And then fold up that back piece, which will peg the front wheels together. And we are done. From the front, the vehicle mode looks great. It just looks great. It looks like a reasonable facsimile of the alt mode we saw in the movie. Sliding to the back of the vehicle mode is a different story. The hell is this? I mean, what the hell is this? What is this supposed to be? Is this supposed to be the grip or the connector point for a trailer? Because I've never seen one that looks like this. It's bad. It's just bad. And the original figure didn't look anywhere near this bad. The original figure, yes, was a bit hollow up here, but this is borderline unacceptable. It really is. I don't like it. And it makes me wonder if they cheaped out on some engineering, because it feels like there should be some more engineering going on back here, but there just isn't. It's just kind of a mess. And that's a shame. Now, the original pictures we saw kind of looked like this. That looks even worse. But I don't like it. I don't like the way that looks. From the front, the vehicle mode looks fantastic. And it can do. But the back... No, just no. I mean, that's the only trailer I have, and I guess that kind of works. It does move and roll. It kind of just sits there, though. Let's see if we move that over. How does that work? Oh, that just looks awful. No, thank you. I really wanted to like this alt mode a lot more. Again, the front is great. It's exactly what I wanted. But as soon as you turn the figure around in alt mode, it just is like, no! What has Primus done? Yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. It's really bad. And I can't be really mad at it, because I'm sure the designers were given limited they were limited. They were just limited. I mean, let's face it. This is not a design that works well for a toy. It's weird. It's like, oh, what if we had an evil Optimus Prime? And it's just odd. It's not good. It's not awful. The figure is not bad. That's the kicker. The figure is not bad, but it deserves better. Maybe. I mean, that really depends on what your opinion of the movies are. Do you think Galvatron deserved better? Because, I mean, let's face it, Galvatron was kind of a nothing burger in the movie, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. He's just like, I'm evil and I'm here and stuff. And the whole Transformium BS. I mean, don't even get me started with that. Oh, Stanley Tucci. Why? At the end of the day, is Galvatron worth having? I don't know. I really don't know. That's a really good question. If you could get it on sale, I would, but I wouldn't go searching for it. Instead, I would definitely pick up Studio Series 2007 Megatron. It's a vastly superior figure. Heck, I would even pick up ROTF Megatron. It's a more fun figure. Heck, I would even pick up Dark of the Moon Megatron. It's a more interesting figure. So I would pick up 3 other baddies before picking up this baddie. That should say something. Alright folks, let me know what you think of Galvatron down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, notification button. So, as I said in my last video review, the only fix is to unsubscribe from my channel and then resubscribe in a convoluted method. So somebody has confirmed that a different way works. So unsubscribe from my channel, then refresh your browser page, then resubscribe to my channel. That will fix the notification problem if you're clicking notifications and it says, I'm for kids. Yeah, Google, YouTube, they're weird, and browser caching is also weird. As always, I have been Baltmatrix. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.